Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome back to Formula Amateur, where today we'll be discussing the Indy 500, which happened a couple of weeks ago, but I wasn't able to speak, so I'm trying it now. Let's get into it. So the first thing you will notice is that for the Indy 500, there is a lot of practice sessions. They practically spend the entire month of May practicing for the Indy 500 with about 7 or 8 practice sessions throughout the month. A lot of injuries have happened through that time, and as you may have noticed if you watched or listened to the episode about all of the drivers taking part in Indy this year, you'll know that there are some extra faces on the grid for the Indy 500. The only one I didn't note down because she was a late addition was Catherine Legg, so we will mention her in this as well. So we will use the usual standard I use for telling you the results, with the first practice session being and going like this. So let's go into the first practice session. In a 33rd position was Legg with 51 laps. In 32nd was Schumacher with 84. In 31st was Foster with 76. In 30th was Collette with 59. In 29th was Hunter-Reay with 27. In 28th was Lundgaard with 68. In 27th was Power with 44. In 26th was Hauger with 12. In 25th was Robb with 70. In 24th was Siegel with 82. In 23rd was Ericsson with 45. In 22nd was Rosenqvist with 84. In 21st was Rasmussen with 89. In 20th was Simpson with 80. In 19th was VK with 82. In 18th was Ferrucci with 53. In 17th was Abel with 63. In 16th was Carpenter with 56. In 50th was Castroneves with 55. In 40th was Sato with 36. In 13th was Rossi with 116. In 12th was Award with 78. In 11th was Harvey with 58. In 10th was Malukas with 53. In 9th was Grosjean with 58. In 8th was McLaughlin with 28. In 7th was Kirkwood with 47. In 6th was Rahal with 47. In 5th was Dixon with 61. In 4th was Newgarden with 71. In 3rd was Daly with 89. In 2nd was Armstrong with 46. And in 1st was Palou with 28. And now on to the second practice session. In 33rd was Legg again with 73. In the 32nd was Carpenter with 48. In 31 was Schumacher with 85. In 30 was Sato with 75. In 29th was Rasmussen with 36. In 28th was Abel with 73. In 27 was Award with 61. In 26 was Simpson with 90. In 25th was Hunter-Reay with 75. In 24 was Lundgaard with 55. In 23rd was Castroneves with 69. In 22nd was Siegel with 83. In 21st was Rossi with 59. In 20th was Robb with 44. In 19th was Ericsson with 83. In 80th was Collette with 85. In 70th was Hauger with 85. In 60th was Foster with 74. In 50th was VK with 88. In 40th was Harvey with 78. In 30th was Power with 68. In 12th was Rosenqvist with 91. In 11th was Armstrong with 72. In 10th was Kirkwood with 89. In 9th was Ferrucci with 102. In 8th was Newgarden with 90. In 7th was McLaughlin with 82. In 6th was Dixon with 74. In 5th was Grosjean with 77. In 4th was Rahal with 58. In 3rd was Malukas with 56. In 2nd was Palou with 118. And in 1st was Daly with 86. And now on to the third practice session, where in 33rd was Rasmussen with 42. In 32nd was Schumacher with 54. In 31st was Rahal with 19. In 30th was Foster with 21. 29th was Harvey with 16. In 28th was Lundgaard with 57. In 27th was Ferrucci with 32. In 26th was Abel with 58. 25th was Daly with 39. In 24th was Legg with 45. In 23rd was Newgarden with 32. In 22nd was Palou with 56. In 21st was Power with 54. In 20th was Malukas with 26. In 19th was Simpson with 55. In 18th was Siegel with 51. In 17th was Sato with 25. In 16th was Ericsson with 43. In 15th was Hauger with 63. In 14th was Kirkwood with 49. In 13th was Hunter-Reay with 44. In 12th was McLaughlin with 32. In 11th was VK with 54. In 10th was Carpenter with 59. In 9th was Dixon with 47. In 8th was Grosjean with 64. In 7th was Collette with 46. In 6th was Rob with 42. In 5th is Rossi with 68. In 4th is Rosenquist with 43. In 3rd is Armstrong with 51. In 2nd was Castroneves with 39. And in 1st was O'Ward with 43. And now on to practice 4, where in 33rd was Legg with 22, in 32nd was Schumacher with 40, 31st was Hunter with 26, in 30th was Grosjean with 27, in 29th was Hauger with 25, in 28th was Simpson with 41, 27th was Rob with 23, in 26th was Rahal with 28, in 25th was Abel with 20, in 24th was Foster with 27, in 25th was Kirkwood with 27, in 22nd was Castroneves with 28, in 21st was Armstrong with 29, in 20 was Newgarden with 18. In 19 was Lundgaard with 25. In 18 was Ferrucci with 20. In 17 was Collette with 32. In 16th was Malukas with 7. In 15th was Harvey with 42. In 14th was Power with 26. In 30th was Daly with 20. In 13th was Dixon with 23. In 11th was Rasmussen with 23. In 10th was Siegel with 22. In 9th was VK with 24. In 8th was Award with 22. In 7th was Carpenter with 26. In 6th was Pillow with 30. In 5th was Ericsson with 34. In 4th was Sato with 20. In 3rd was McLaughlin with 7. In 2nd was Rossi with 23. And in 1st was Rosenquist with 29. And then practice 5 was cancelled and we moved on to practice 6, where only the top 14 took part. And in 14th position was Hunter in 7th. In 30th was Power with 17. In 12th was Kirkwood with 7. In 11th was Ericsson with 9. In 10th was Schumacher with 7. In 9th was Rahal with 8. In 8th was Legg with 7. In 7th was Ferrucci with 8. In 6th was Foster with 6. In 4th is Castroneves with 5. In 4th was Rossi with 7. In 3rd was Carpenter with 7. 2nd was Sato with 7. And in 1st was Rasmussen with 7. So how did they qualify? In 33rd was Rob, in 32nd was Abel, in 31st was Hauger, in 30th was Rahal, 29th was Harvey, in 28th was Schumacher, in 27th was Legg, 26th was Kirkwood, in 25th was Grosjean, in 24th was Newgarden, in 23rd was Hunter, in 22nd was Foster, 21st was Siegel, in 20th was Power, in 19th was Lundgaard, 18th was Ericsson, 17th was Armstrong, 16th was Rasmussen, 50th was Castroneves, in 40th was Carpenter, in 13th was Sato, in 12th was Simpson, in 11th was Pillow, in 10th was Ferrucci, in 9th was Award, in 8th was Dixon, in 7th was Collette, in 6th was Rossi, in 5th was VK, in 4th was McLaughlin, in 3rd was Daly, in 2nd was Malukas, and in 1st was Rosenquist. But that doesn't mean that was all, because then they had a further qualifying session of the top 12, where in the 12th position was VK, 11th was Dixon, 10th was Collette, 9th was McLaughlin, 8th was Daly, 7th was Simpson, 6th was Rossi, 5th was Award, 4th was Ferrucci, 3rd was McLaughlin, 2nd was Pillow, and 1st was Rosenquist. And then they had yet another quali, the Firestone 6, where in 6th was Award, in 5th was Ferrucci, in 4th was Rosenquist, 3rd was Malukas, in 2nd was Rossi, and in 1st was Pillow. So after all of that, where did they actually qualify? Well, in 33rd was Harvey, who did not have a time because of a penalty. In 32nd was Collette, who also did not get a time on the board. In 31st was Rob. In 30th was Abel. In 29th was Hauger. In 28th was Rahal. 27th was Schumacher. In 26th was Legg. In 23rd was Kirkwood. In 24th was Grosjean. In 23rd was Newgarden. 22nd was Hunter. In 21st was Foster. In 20th was Siegel. In 19th was Power. 18th was Lundgaard, 17th was Ericsson, 16th was Armstrong, 15th was Rasmussen, 14th was Castroneves, 13th was Carpenter, 12th was Sato, 11th was VK, 10th was Dixon, 9th was McLaughlin, 8th was Daly, 7th was Simpson, 6th was Award, 5th was Ferrucci, 4th was Rosenquist, 3rd was Malukas, 2nd was Rossi, and 1st was...
And now let's get on to practice 7, where in 33rd was Rahal with 31 laps. In 32nd was Abel with 25 laps. In 31st was Daly with 24. In 30th was Schumacher with 37. In 29th was Carpenter with 23. In 28th was Lundgaard with 32. In 27th was Siegel with 32. In 26th was Rossi, who had 23. In 25th was Foster with 28. In 24th was McLaughlin with 33. In 23rd was VK with 42. In 22nd was Legg with 35. In 21st was Rosenquist with 35. In 20th was Armstrong with 30. In 19th was Power with 35. In 18th was Castroneves with 38. In 70th was Palou with 19. In 16th was Robb with 47. In 15th was Kirkwood with 21. In 14th was Grosjean with 20. In 13th was Simpson with 35. In 12th was Malukas with 35. In 11th was Ferrucci with 34. In 10th was Rasmussen with 40. In 9th was Collette with 41. In 8th was Ward with 19. In 7th was Harvey with 39. In 6th is Dixon with 26. In 5th was Ericsson with 39. In 4th is Hunter Ray with 32. In 3rd is Hauger with 34. In 2nd is Sato with 35. And in 1st was Newgarden with 34 laps. And now on to the final practice before the actual race happened. In 33rd was Legg with 48 laps. In 32nd was Robb with 58 laps. In 31st was Rossi with 48. In 30th was Lundgaard with 57. In 29th was Schumacher with 67. In 28th was Abel with 64. In 27th was Siegel with 55. In 26th was Power with 89. In 25th was Hunter Ray with 57. In 24th was Carpenter with 63. In 23rd was Simpson with 89. In 22nd was Rosenquist with 45. In 21st was Collette with 56. In 20th was Award with 58. In 19th was Castroneves with 70. In was Foster with 73. In 17th was Ferrucci with 81. In 16th was VK with 59. In 15th is Ericsson with 61. In 14th is Dixon with 96. In 13th is Harvey with 86. In 12th is Rahal with 88. In 11th is Grosjean with 91. In 10th is Hauger with 64. In 9th is Armstrong with 73. In 8th is McLaughlin with 53. In 7th is Kirkwood with 49. In 6th is Palou with 69. In 5th is Sato with 93. In 4th is Daly with 81. In 3rd is Malukas with 54. In 2nd is Rasmussen with 49. And in 1st, once again, is Newgarden with 55. So where does that lead the iconic race on the iconic oval in Indianapolis? Well, in 33rd and crashing out was Legg, who did 17 laps, followed by, in the same moment, 32nd was Hunter, also finishing on the 17th lap. Then in the 31st was Carpenter, who also dropped the ball and did not finish the race. He finished it on the 26th lap. In the 30th was Rossi, who also had some difficulties. This probably comes with the fact that he was injured. He finished on the 91st lap. In 29th was Power, who also finished on the 91st lap as well. I believe that he and Rossi crashed into each other. In 28th was Newgarden, who also had a massive injury as well. He finished on the 124th lap. And then in 27th was Rasmussen, who did not finish the race. He finished it on the 144th lap. In 20th was Castroneves, who finished the race on the 194th lap. In 24th was Abel, who finished everything on the 198th. All of these are now, because they were just behind rather than not completing the whole race, they were just beaten by everyone in terms of lap advantages. In 24th was Abel with 198. In 23rd was Robb with 199. In 22nd was Harvey with 199. In 21st was Foster with 199. In 20th was Rahal with 199. In 19th was Hauger with 199. In 18th was Schumacher, the first of the 200 lap finishers. In 17th was Lundgaard. In 16th was Kirkwood. In 15th was Dixon. In 14th was Simpson. In 13th was Ericsson. In 12th was Daly. In 11th was Siegel. In 10th was Sato. In 9th was Grosjean. In 8th was Ferrucci. In 7th was Palou. In 6th was VK. In 5th was Armstrong. In 4th was Ward. In 3rd was McLaughlin. In 2nd was Malukas. And his first ever win on the iconic oval was Rosenquist. What a month he has had. He became a father for the first time, and then a few weeks later he becomes an Indy 500 winner. So what a brilliant time for him it has been. And that concludes the Indy 500 review, the race rundown for you. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to check out my lovely colleagues on the Be the Change Media Network. Don't forget to check out BeTheChangeMediaNetwork.com. Hopefully you are enjoying all this content that is coming out at the moment, as I am trying to catch up before we hit episode 100 in Barcelona. So get ready for that one. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day wherever you are, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.